And welcome back once again to the PCS Summer Split Playoffs. Whew, it has been a long ride to get here, and this series has certainly delivered, Mr. Nightstar. We are on match point here for CFO versus PSG. We will see who triumphs and goes forward. But before we do that, I want to shout out our sponsors one more time. Let's hear it for CTBC Bank for always being by our side, for China Airlines, for soaring with us for this playoffs. Now, Nightstar, CTBC Bank, Flying Oyster, that is. They are 2-1 up. They currently running things in this series. They've come back in that game, and now they have a chance to do a repeat of spring. Knock PSG Talon down to the lower bracket. They were vanquished by them in the end, but they will be that much closer to the World Championship.
And this time, even if they do lose to them in the finals, right, that would be the only time they would play them again. They've already booked their World's ticket at the very least, you know? You can go ahead and give them the trophy, I guess, to a certain degree. I'm sure they
But they do have a lot. Yeah, exactly. They do have a lot to get through. Should they even prevail on this one, they will still have to set up a win over Megabank Beyond Gaming, who they did 2-0 in the regular split. The stakes are so different, night and day, for whoever wins the series, because the winning team gets 2 shots at the World Championship, 2 shots at the finals, really, and the losing team has to face J-Team in an elimination match, a team that is going to be gunning for whoever they have up against. It is not easy any further, and, well, there's a little bit of pattern here for CFO right now. They could still lose one game going back, but they look like they've been learning, they've been evolving over the course of this series, and I think the biggest surprise has been their drafting is just so much better than we expected from this brute force squad.
Yeah, they've been a lot more consistent on how they're executing these drafts as we go into possibly the last one of the night. PSG, they've swapped over to the blue side. Doesn't look like bans will shift a whole lot, except for maybe the last ban. There was a Wukong ban that did get dropped in game number 3, and Bury on the pick didn't do too shabby. It was just really the composition that really limited how effective he could be, though.
Yeah, for a first time, it certainly wasn't bad, but Gemini just really showing up in that Lee Sin and showing him up. Draven ban carries through the Vibe ban for CFO. I do like that, keeping Bury off the point-and-click champions, but PSG this time, realizing they might have been limited a little bit in the mid lane, will grab the Azir for themselves the first time this split. Remember, Gory's undefeated on this champion.
And it's not just undefeated. He's played 6 games of it, and he's had a ridiculous highlight plays. He's been an absolute highlight reel on just this champion. I'm sure every single game he's brought it out. He's had that big 3-4 man shuffle that changes the entire scope of a fight. And CFO, for the handshake, they do opt for the Sivir as a choice, and most likely here we go for a jungler, unless if they're confident in Gemini's depth of pool, which, you know, definitely
they've done this before.
Yeah,
they've done. It has been banned away from them that previous game, and I think that did hurt. Again, this is still a flex. I think at this point, though, it's probably safe to say it's a likely mission champion. Still could be Koala, or could be Rest, but
yeah, most likely going into Gemini's hands. As PSG, they'll go back towards the Wukong. Bury gets his hands on this champ once more, and it should also be a much easier time to execute because they have a lot more damage sources. It's not all on him to get the perfect engage into the back line. They go ahead, lock in this a mission champion in the Victor, and there's not like a ton of gap closed that he has to be worried about, so we could see him really bring out the styling shoes here.
Yeah, it's starting to look like a late game for CFO. You got a Sivir, you got a Victor. I mean, like, how many CS does it take to get to the center of the Nexus, right? So Orange going to get taken away again. This time Renata also falls away. They don't want to give that as an anti-dive opportunity. PSG could be setting up for a good dive comp.
Could just be the Renata Yumi banned away by the side of PSG for CFO. They could look to take away the Gnar, but because they have the first pick, they might just snap up the Gnar themselves, and it will be them that ban away the Yuumi. So clearly they're not looking for the Yuumi on this pick, which leads me to think that they'll just snap up the Gnar, move that Sejuani into jungle, and once more save counter pick for Koala.
Man, I feel like it doesn't matter how much you nerf Gnar. In a PSG series, it's a hot contested champion. There's the hover. I do think this could come through. They have fair bit of damage late game from that Victor no matter what. So making sure you can protect him as much as possible. Rest also had a heck of a game last time around on it. And PSG, let's see if Bury gets his hands on the Lee Sin. As
this would be
wait a minute, hold on. I was about to say, there's a Wukong.
Because it would mean the Wukong goes top lane, which has been a traditional matchup that you would take into the Gnar.
Oh,
this would make a lot more sense.
GP
this
locked in now.
Makes a ton more sense here for Hanabi. A fantastic lock-in with the Gangplank because he just tosses the Gangplank ultimate on top of Mission and Shun. They're on 2 carries that are gonna struggle to get out of that ultimate because they don't have any mobility spells. So, or at least gap close capabilities. And then you layer on the Recon Engage. I love this team fight pivot coming in for PSG and for CFO. The Tahm Kench will have its value, right? Because you're able to save one of these big carries, but it will be, you can only save one of them.
Yeah, I think if it comes down to it, it's probably going to be Mission. This looks like a Protect the President comp to me. And PSG Talon, they have so much damage to work with. They've got Gory on his undefeated Azir, Bury back on the Wukong, and Hanabi, an old favorite. Man, past 12.14, these 2 champions in the top lane are nerfed. It doesn't matter. PCS still loves them.
And this was one of the lessons they learned in the spring finals, right? Because they did get bopped out by CFO in the upper bracket in their first head-to-head. They tried to play a lot of tempo. They were playing a lot of Rise, just kind of strong-arming him into compositions. It didn't work out. They realized that all they had to do was just play scaling team fight. And they were able to turn the tides in pretty dominating fashion in the finals. It looks like they've gone to that angle a lot sooner than the grand finals.
Yeah, it's obviously is the first series that PSG have had to play. They have been put hard to the test, and they do need to win this one if they want to stay alive in the upper bracket to force a game 5 to hear some silver scrapes tonight. We'll see if they can pull it off. But for CFO, they close this one out, and that's it. They're ready. Moving forward for Megabank Beyond Gaming. We'll see if they can do it. I do like this adaptation on the draft, giving Rest the blind pick Gnar, putting the Tahm Kench down bottom. So much protection, so much CC. A lot of potential to keep Mission alive. Let him just pew out the lasers. CTBC Flying Oyster certainly looking to be flying high, and we'll see if they can be making themselves all the way into the upper bracket finals. If they can take the win here and repeat what they did, PSG Talon last time around. We're loading up onto Summoners Rift. A little foggy out there. Marine layers settling in, perhaps, Nightstar?
Yeah, because
oh no,
pause.
We're in a sepia layer right now as we got the game pause kicking off.
It's real
that's
foggy.
Just building the tension. Yeah, that's very foggy. I hate to see it, but hopefully we get that one fixed pretty soon. Anyways, let's go back a little bit to the stakes for this game, right? Right. PSG have to stay alive. They're the #1 seed. They somehow managed to get back into it after what looked like they might lose it out to a number of our strong teams in this league that have really been building it back up and given a lot of competition to PSG, but they still got that #1 seed. They are on the verge of being knocked down to the lower bracket in their first series here by the team that did it to them last time. They don't want to see history repeat itself, at least not this part of the history.
And for the side of CFO, this is a way for them to knock them down without much trouble. right? They don't want to send it to a game 5, even though they've done still well under pressure. Don't want to tempt fate. And I love how both of these compositions do shape out, because it's a lot of comfort champs coming in from both of these teams, and it will also boil down to 5v5 team fight execution, which you would favor PSG, but the individuals have definitely had their moments on CFO. So this is lining up to be really the capstone of this series.
Could be a big banger for sure. For PSG, you can see a little bit of a difference in approach as Koala licks Skywing to start things off. Gory, while we've seen Azir in Mission's hands, he has been all about that first strike, and he continues it with the Victor. Gory's like, no, put that away. I'm taking a comment.
Yeah, opting to get a little bit more damage in these poke trades, rather than just try and push itemization forward. And this is a pick we have not seen in a very, very long time in the PCS. It's that GP. And
yeah, it would be Hanabi to bring it back, wouldn't it?
For the most part, it's because of the prominence in a champion like Fiora, right? The Fiora against the GP, it is just absolute hell for the GP after a certain point, and he just cannot stand tall against that champ.
But this
particular series, traditional matchup. And Gory, he's going to be first one under fire.
Oh, Gemini dashing right on in, and now he's forced to flash and dash, and oh boy, feels like Azirs are always under fire.
Our Azirs,
our Azirs, their Azirs, whose ears?
At the you know what? At the very least, Gory did use the flash, right?
That's true.
He didn't go for the overswag
Mission
play.
Holds on to that way too much. But I do think it's kind of hard to get too ego on a Victor. I mean, okay, I say that, but like, you don't have the gap close, right?
It's hard to move
overextend. That's true, I guess. I don't know. Mission has been slowly getting a little bit better, I think, ever since he kind of fell flat in game 2. Picked things back up in game 3. His landing phase was still a little rough, but he had a lot of help from Koala and Gemini. I can't expect he will... Okay, he is moving forward, but like Gory's so under fire right now. Furry could be around, but yeah, Mission just plays with a lot of swag.
He knows he still has flash, right? And as long as he flashes at the right time, there's no kill, right?
It's true.
And it will be double recalls into double teleports into the mid lane. I'm surprised Mission just teleports straight back. Had the opportunity to just walk on back without really losing much. Opts to just save time, I suppose.
He's all about that lane, man. He doesn't want to miss a single CS. Checking him top lane, though. Gangplank matchup into rest, and so far, keeping him at bay.
And this Gangplank is just going to have so much value in these team fights. You just throw down the cannon barrage, and all of a sudden, Shun's going to struggle to move through terrain. Mission will also struggle, but Gemini making his way over. Rest about to hit Mega 2. Does look like it's just going to be a 1v1 duel.
Yeah, I think Hanabi walks away from this. He's got an orange. He eats it. It's K. Gemini even tanks tower. So, able to walk it out. And Hanabi just knows these matchups, right? Like, it's back in his comfort zone. We were worried about him in the latter half of this split because a lot of the champions that were going to be meta, so we thought anyways, didn't necessarily favor some of the playstyle. A lot of his champions almost seemingly like target nerf down, and nope, he's back in the Nari, he's back on the GP, he's fine. He's Hanabi.
Yeah, we also see a little bit coming in from LPL, right, where they still strong-arm these champions into their compositions, and it's been fine. And it's... Yes, the champs have been nerfed, but the amount of comfort of having these champs and played with these champs for such a long time just makes it very easy to sort of plug and play.
Yeah, it makes all the difference, right? There's that muscle memory to work with, and at the pro level, you need to be able to play just about any champion in situations. But the game has so many at this point; it's completely understandable. You want to go back to some favorites. especially not having to deal with newer ones in some cases. Checking in on bottom side, pretty even farm fest. That game 1 was such a huge swing in favor of CFO, but it's definitely turned a little bit. When things like the Sivir come through, especially with Tom Kench, you're not going to have nearly as much aggression and lane dominance. Yes, Sivir can push, but Unified's been just fine, and he's failing himself on this Zeri. He had a pretty solid performance on the Aphelios the other game, too, and I don't know if Unified is fully back on form, but he's definitely stepped it up.
Unified playing better than game number 1. That is
like a statement that is absolutely true.
Say because of the fact he was just outright dumpstered by the Draven. But when you're playing bot lane, that's the champion I hate the most. It's playing against Draven, because every time you walk up to auto a minion, you take an axe, and then you've lost 10% of your health at level 1, which is kind of stupid for a level 1.
Draven is very fun for the Draven player and very not fun for most other people, unless you just get absolutely mercilessly camped. But that didn't happen, so here we are.
Yeah.
PSG, though, holding out pretty strong. I mean, this is going to be a little bit of a slow game in a sense, right? We are looking for the late game 5v5s. Gemini is going to potentially interrupt that. If he can find Gory in this mid lane, that could make the difference. But Bury is here as well, or at least nearby, but hasn't dinged 6. And here comes the Abyssal Dive. They're actually going to get on to Bury himself, and he might even be zoned off his own chickens.
Fight for chickens. This is actually sort of important here, because Bury now will have his level 6 continue to be delayed. And they also will leave one of them up.
Wow, that's just rude.
Yeah, and this looked to be a very good lane phase, and still is for the side of PSG, because put on comfort champions in pretty advantageous lane matchups. It's so far lined up for their strongest lane performance yet here.
I like this roam from Koala as well. It means that Kaiwing has to respond. So you like getting solo farm for both these bot lanes. Now Rest could be in trouble.
Level 6.
He does have level 6 now, and that Nar's not got the strongest health bar, but they don't opt for it. PSG play it safe instead. They decide to go for Rift Herald here, and they should be able to secure this. I don't think CFO are in as much of a rush to try and contest things with this composition.
Yeah, and they don't go for that top dive play because of the fact that they knew Gemini did wander up top side, but now a collapse onto Hanabi.
Oh, they look for Hanabi, and he already used his orange. Does turn around with that cannon barrage, and immediately Kaiwing tags his way back in. Rest gets a big Gnar against the wall, but they still take him down. Bury with the second effort for first blood. So the cost of interrupting that Rift Herald was the life of their top laner.
Big pickup for the side of PSG. This lane should just get better and better for Hanabi, as right now Gemini looking for a 1v1 solo kill. He has red buff.
He might find it. Let's see, it's a lot of damage, and he does knock him down. Hit him with the biscuit.
Bolo.
You gotta love it. So revenge is sweet for CFO,
and it stops the Rift Herald, Pyro.
Yeah, that's the crucial thing. They don't actually get anything off that. So I still feel if you're actually both junglers got kills, honestly, this is fine for CFO.
And the big thing is Gemini gets a bunch of extra farm. I believe he crashed that top lane. So he is at a slight advantage over Bury. At the very least, the levels do get
It's not a tax. It's not a tax if your top laner is not around.
Yeah.
It's just saving farm.
Oh,
Koala. Oh, man, he looks gory. They're looking for that one. He slides, he glides, Kaiwing as well, and this is a big old zone out as the Herald is sure to drop soon. Early smite for the health, and they take it as there wasn't an answer, and Bury almost bites it to the Chaos Storm. You can't check into Victor that easily. CFO are out-muscling PSG talent.
And this is Mission's comfort zone when he can just play a stat checker like Victor. Once he gets going, you just start poking with those lasers, getting the evolved laser as well. In this slow early game, you know, I mean, it favors both of these squads, right? Because CFO just want to keep laning. In fact, an interesting stat is I believe they have the lowest first blood rate for a team. But then you look at their gold differential at 14.
They're really good in lane, okay?
They
Really
are
good.
Insanely far ahead. They're like 1,700 gold ahead. So, yeah, this is a team that plays to their limits for better or worse. And right now, it's looking like they're starting to come back into their own, even after, you know, this bit of a slow start of the game.
Yeah, and that's okay, though. Like, it's slow by their own standards, but as you mentioned, they do like it early on in Mission. Oh, he just fully baits out that Emperor's Divide. Burns his flash, though. So, for Gory, the cooldown traded is more effective. This is going to open up the opportunity for this Dragon. Bit of a late Drake once again. We've had a long series on our hands tonight. Now the Bolo comes through, finding Gory, and into the gravity field.
Oh, he's going.
They go. Here comes Koala for the second wind effort, but they don't want to fully commit to that. Instead, PSG, they were opting for the Drake. They looked to open it up, but they got muscled out again. CFO are just bullying PSG down.
Now that they're on the Rift Arrow, they're going to get more plates into this Victor. Get him
all for mission, too.
Extra gold.
Okay, they share. Share and share alike.
I mean, it was Gemini's Herald as well, so he was going to be a split regardless. And the reason why PSG don't commit to that fight, they don't have the Emperor's Divide, and also it did look like Shun had the first roam priority when it comes to joining that fight. It would have been Unified, even though he's on his area and able to join quickly with his jump. Would have taken him a little bit to find a good angle to actually rejoin his squad. But because of the Rift Herald and the reset coming in from CFO, they give over priority over to PSG on this first dragon. And it is an ocean dragon, which is why the dragon did come a little bit late.
Yeah, stats not quite as valuable for some of them. I think we saw
and it's
a later
Cloud next.
Yeah, Cloud next. I mean, probably gonna have some serious combat sets. We haven't seen a single Hextech dragon this series. I just want to point that out. Maybe we're overdue here as the 900 gold lead for CFO continuing to try and push that one Nightstar. They would love a Hextech, actually.
Hextech would be great, coming in for both sides. Rest now coming in the fight. He's getting ganked.
That's from downtown. Kaiwing finds everything he needs, and he will actually even claim the kill credit on the Ignite. But meanwhile, Turnabout's fair play down bottom. They find Unified completely isolated from the pack. He tries to duck, dip, dash, dive, dodge away, but so much CC layers on top of him, and Shun sends the boomerang blade into his back, and now they can take even more plates. The last second ones before they fall going to be in favor of Shun. Gemini looking at Bury to keep him away, and the action just doesn't stop here. 14 minutes, 2-2 in kills. CFO in the lead. Looking to grow it. I found Bury
actually getting turned on.
Yeah, Gory's here on the other side. However, they throw the Chaos Storm down, and the Emperor's Divide finds two. That's the effort they're going to be able to do. Just one and then two as Koala swallows up Mission. Gets him out to safety. He might give his life for it. But the protection was there. Mission throws a gravity field to no avail. Hanami takes down Koala in the end. So a kill over the GP.
It is going to be a teleport expended by Hanami, though, to actually get that kill. And then you look at the gold differential. Even though they are up 4 kills to 2, they're still down in gold as we get to see the replay in this bottom lane. CFO, they've addressed the fact that, hey, if they're making a play elsewhere, we can just immediately turn onto Unify. They get the kill and get a bunch of plates. And with the cash in onto the Cull as well for Shun, he's got a lot of gold invested into himself. So he's in a spot where he can spike really hard onto items when Zeri will be stuck on 1.5. So that would be a big timing window. But this is why we love Gory on this Azir pick. It's because he can do things like that.
Yeah, I only see that on the side of Mission. And honestly, this whole play, it kind of feels like Gemini caught something from Mission in the previous games, because he was way out of position, feeling like he could bully Bury, and it just didn't take into account the fact that the play could turn on him. So, I don't know. Yeah, as you pointed out, though, gold advantage still for CFO. And again, this team, really good in the laning phase. And they get out 16 minutes on the clock, still have that lead, have the tower advantage. And we will see what else they can get done here. Two of PSG's kills onto Buri's Wukong.
Yeah,
The Divine Sunder in tow now.
Got such item acceleration in that bottom lane for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big barrel with just that Triforce proc. As Mission could be stuck in this choke point, we'll be able to walk away, and that means Gemini is fine as well. Yeah, so our next fight, I don't think will happen around this dragon, right? Even though 80 seconds left, yes, CFO, if they can get it, they'd love it. But I don't think they're like super enthused to try and test their luck.
It's all about the Herald.
Feel comfortable.
Oh, what happened last time?
Come in from. Mission has teleport? No, he doesn't. So he's actually too far away for this play to happen.
Yeah, this would have to be a smite fight. Gemini also sees the ward. He knows what's up. I think they have to see control of this one. PSG picking up Herald for themselves this time around. That'll be the last one on this game. And Dragon will now draw the attention of both squads. But as you mentioned, it's a cloud. It's, you know, building a stack for PSG is important. CFO maybe want to cut it off. As you know, you're going to get combat stats no matter what for the soul.
It's going to be a hefty soul. Really, really important for either of these teams to contest soul dragons. But for this cloud dragon, the extra movement speed is of course going to be beneficial for CFO, as you know you are running the Sivir and a Victor, so mobility not exactly the best, but at the same time, you know, you're not willing to put the game on the line for this.
No, and I think for PSG, they're going to try and push on the side. Gory can get a fair bit done on this Azir early on. He will take it, and that's the price that CFO are going to pay to get Prio on there. They'd love to pick off someone like Unified, as they are just having Gemini solo this out. One thing you can do on a big beefy support or a beefy jungler like this, but
this is
PSG are not done. They're going to go for the Herald pop onto tier 2. They're going to get dinner and dessert.
Big charge here. They get gold split onto just 2 people, so there is a pretty big influx of gold, especially into Gory. Whereas on the flip side, Shun, Mission, they'll be the ones to split this tower gold, but not as much, as it's only a tier 1.
No one's dealing with Shelly. Teleport comes in way late here. Oh man, they almost lost to base turret. That was a lot.
It would have been a very early base turret there. And I mean, I think PSG would have been okay with either result, right? If they secure that, great. If they don't get it, well, it's kind of whatever.
Gold flips back to them.
You're not going to take that tower anytime soon anyway. So things are okay, but carries online across the board, right? Shun, Mission, they are very, very strong. Completed 2 items for Shun. Shun should be very close to his. This is a clear fight window for CFO. Completed 2 items. That is a massive spike in comparison to what Gory, he'll still be able to produce, but the Zeri pick is not going to be able to until later on. Hanabi actually goes for a very cost-efficient build, completing the LDR for the hardest spike he can
And look at this. He just clears the wave, completely shreds it, so Mission can't side lane push the way Gory is, and Gory's just dirty farming through this like minions do the hard work for him. Yeah, man. This is here. What a difference looking at the way Gory plays this champion versus Mission.
Yeah, he's just getting so many resources poured into him here. And it's also PSG funneling him more and more gold, right? They understand Gory is just such a terror on this champ, whereas for CFO, they kind of use the Azir more so as a distraction, allow Rest to go unperturbed in his lane. And Mission, though,
Mission's right back.
I mean, on the Victor, he knows he has a lot of dual potential with the amount of burst damage. And he's trying to match the pressure, but PSG have much better tools to answer back.
Yeah, this is the thing about a Gangplank. It's easy to forget when he's been out of the meta for a while. Is hey, you can't really push into him because of barrels and cannons and just about everything. The GP will just keep on stacking damage onto waves. But as we reset, 21 minutes on the game clock, a split of dragons right now with a Mountain Soul on the board if this game goes late enough to secure it. Based on how they've gone so far, I think it may be probable. But a gold lead of about 1,000 in favor of PSG Talon, who need to stay alive here in the upper bracket. A win would be huge for them to force a game 5 as they look for Bury. Oh, baited out by the Wukong clone, though.
Good use of the Warrior Trickster. And now it's 2 items being matched by the side of PSG. So the item differential is really just a half item coming in, jungle, top, and 80 carry. But mission, I feel like we've seen this scene before.
Yeah, we have. The Chaos Storm is on. They will get the knockup, and the rest of the cavalry tries to arrive. Mission on, limping away, but the shutdown goes to Gory before CFO can arrive, and that is the difference right there.
The range of engage is just so much different from the side of PSG with the Zir versus the Victor, who's so stationary, has no mobility, and this is a fight that CFO might be forced to try and contest. Actually, it's just going to be everyone pulling off, seeing the extra teleport come through. I mean, 90-10, right? I don't think the Baron was a 90-10.
That was 60-40. That's a little too close for comfort for PSG. Nonetheless, they get teleport. They use teleport. They got the Victor, and that's gold into Gory's pocket. I mean, you see these 2 mid laners duking it out. They're going to extend that lead a little bit more, about 500, but it's a very close game. Dragon is going to hit the rift in about 40 seconds. That should be the next theater of battle.
And for CFO, this is where sometimes their solo laners can run into trouble, with that they press too hard. They're so far up, they just get caught out, and there's no exchange on the other side because there's no objectives. And that was definitely a case of CFO. They couldn't actually punish mission getting collapsed upon, so they had to kind of handshake the situation. And now Gory is just so far ahead with the death cap completed. Chunk out is massive here, but CFO are still pretty bold.
Yeah, they look for Bury. He was able to withstand most of the damage and clones out as well. That's going to draw that ultimate out of GP. That opens up this dragon. PSG, they're not going to be giving it up for free as the Chaos Storm comes down. They landed on a Hanabi. Oh, good flash from him. That's going to get them just out of harm's way in time for the tower to fall. This will be CFO picking up a dragon in exchange, but PSG extend their tower lead as well.
PSG get a little bit more map control, but on the flip side, CFO, they get that first mountain dragon. Extra durability with the fact that they are sort of playing 2 big, beefy frontline champions with a Tahm Kench. Gonna make him a lot more robust and just kind of dead-balling into the river fights. So it's definitely a big boost for them, and PSG, it's essentially a neutral game state because they have a slight gold advantage, but that gold advantage is mitigated by the bonus stats.
Just what we would expect, how close the series really has been. And game number 1 was a stomp. You know, there was murmurs, whispers. Oh no, we saw 3-0 last night. Could we see it again? No, this series is already delivered. Whether or not we go to 5 games, it's definitely going the distance already. Long games, but very back and forth in some of them. And PSG, they can force a game 5 here. We get some silver scrapes for all the marbles going forward in the upper bracket. CFO not keen to let that slip away, to let that happen. 25 minutes the game clock. They are behind in the gold, but have a dragon win condition. And PSG trying to bait around the Baron, just clearing vision for now, though.
It's 25 minutes into the game, so death timers are starting to climb up. Any pick will have massive ramifications, especially on these carries. Like, if it lands onto either Rest or Gemini, at the very least, for the side of CFO, they do have 1 more tank, 2 frontline for them, right? So it's not doomsday.
Not yet. And that's for sure. CFO going to keep that vision clear as well. Again, we see the tendency to split from PSG, trying to find angles
Mission
around the
on his
side.
own.
CFO, they death ball it up, but Mission is isolated. Gemini
They
gets
can
knocked
collapse.
up. He's tanking through it. Rest
Okay.
on the Narbar. Mission's going to rejoin the team this time. He almost has flash up, and they could take a 5v5. Send some laser poke Kaiwing's way.
I think they're just buying time for Slash to come back
Oh,
up.
here goes Murray. They get that big knock-up, and Koala gets the Grail on almost a little bit too late, but now they are second winding this one. Kaiwing goes in with the quickness, but they don't get anybody down. Blinking
God,
health
that's
bars on the CFO side. PSG.
Whew. Yeah, that's huge because if they were able to secure the kills onto those low health bar targets, that would be a 5v3. They'd be able to go for recalls, get the teleports channeled in, heal all up. But because it doesn't go their way with the picks, now CFO, they've essentially survived that incredibly dangerous period where Mission doesn't have the flash. Now for this next fight, he will have flash. Gory will have his own, so he's going to have that play-making tool available to him. So all eyes are going to be on our big ticket carries.
Banshee's Veil on for Mission as well. Learning from past mistakes, hopefully. But such a close game, teeter-tottering back and forth right now, and a kill would make all the difference in some of these fights. Mission, yeah, they ping him out on the PSG side. They know he's far forward as he just tries to chip away at that tower. A little bit too squishy to force the issue on his own and risk a PSG collapse. And we'll keep Rest on the bottom side of the map, who is still pretty darn tanky. Maybe not going to be able to deal with the GP one-on-one, but can certainly keep him locked up for now. And no Cannon Barrage just yet. CFO eyeball the Baron, but they will not commit to starting.
Non-committal. Perhaps waiting for the waves to shove out in this bottom lane. Hanabi.
Here's Rest. He's got a level advantage, and he actually has a lot of damage. Narbar about to come up.
Yep.
He's looking for the chase on Hanabi, but he doesn't go too far under tower. Meanwhile, what's going on back at the Baron? It looks like CFO were looking for a chase themselves, but they didn't find it. Now with the Death Brush, or at least Gemini waiting and baiting. See if he can find Kaiwing on that one. He does. Also a Sand Soldier in his face, but he tanks through it.
And the 3-item completions on both Victor and Sivir will make the difference in this next fight until Unify is able to get to his Infinity Edge. And even then, Shun
Gory's third item
has a status advantage with the extra stopwatch. Mission, he has to really be careful at this stage in the game not to lose his flash, because it will make team fights much more difficult for CFO, and because he's the clear early damage source to then set up for Shun to mop up these fights.
Oh, look at this, PSG. They're trying to bait this out. Let's see if CFO can find the fight. Rest, nope. Kaiwing playing this one at arm's length, so the Dragon gets taken, and immediately CFO realized they've been bamboozled, so they make a beeline for the Baron. Will they be able to get it in time? Rest is trying to keep them locked up, and look at Mission in the brush. He'd love to drop a big Chaos Storm on Gory's head, only finds the Death Laser, and Gory tries, but the Emperor's Divide does not find it into the gravity field. He goes, and that Ice Bullet was way out of left field, didn't end up finding anything, and CFO, I think they could have had the Baron, but they peel off. Right back to it again.
Reset the situation, go straight back onto it, but this is going to be a straight up 5v5, and this could just be the series. Teleport
coming in from Gory.
They back off.
CFO get cold feet on this. They take a lot of damage from the Baron. Rest looking to cut off Bury, doesn't find him, and
everyone resets.
Everyone resets. At the end of the day, PSG, they get the Drake stack and get themselves a mountain.
They get a little bit of cold feet. They have the health bar advantage. And now,
delaying backs.
Okay, there we go. They see that, hey, if they go ahead and reset, we'll just turn our attention onto it. But
that's going so low.
Taking a lot of
Keep
damage.
your eyes on Gemini, though. If he goes in for the hero play, can't quite get it this time. Bury has the right smite, and the fight will go flashing away from the Chaos Storm. Iceland, but Bury goes back in for the second effort. They manage to get the shutdown onto Shun, and he's out of this fight. No boomerang blades, no ricochets, and no damage as Unified is just bursting away. They find the damage, picking CFO apart, and they get everyone but Rest. Massive fight for PSG to stay alive in this series.
And my apologies to PSG. I said that they were having cold feet nose. had it all
The
calculated.
CFO had cold feet.
In their
When does
brain.
that happen?
They knew the recalls would come through, and once they threw those recalls down, it would give them clear open space to start the Baron themselves. They secured the Baron, they get those kills, and this looks like we are in a clear position to go to game 5.
I think we are, barring a big mistake. Let's take a look at the start of this fight against CFO.
Rest
you
only
see they're
halfway.
trying to make the hero play again, but Gemini, it's not Lee Sin, it's not the same thing. They look for plays, CFO, try for it, but
Bury
it's a scatter
comes clutch.
and a bait. Bury is clutch, not just in the smite, but also for the fight. And even though he loses his life in the end, it opens up the opportunity for everyone on PSG to just go buck wild.
Yeah. For the side of CFO, it just, the fight conditions weren't quite right because Rest was still halfway on his R-bar, so he didn't have that teamfight tool available to him. You just have to imagine if that was if he had a little bit more stacked up, fight definitely would have looked a lot different. But it doesn't, and PSG, this is a massive lead for them. 6K gold up, and they do have.
See if they can close it.
Yeah, they have those advantages though, right? Like CFO, yes, they got themselves a mountain, but PSG at the very least have matched in the number of stat drakes.
Yeah, that's all tied up. That win condition very delayed here, and I don't think PSG are keen to give CFO that late game already at 32 minutes. And we know these two teams like to take their time in terms of their average game time. Well, I think this one's giving us a run for our money here, as we're already well and past that. Hanabi finding Rest in the mid lane. The siege is on with the Baron buff for another 35 seconds. PSG going to take it nice and easy, slow ride in to make this one a 5-game series. Looking like we're going the distance, unless CFO can find a miracle of a fight.
It's going to take a pick for CFO to get back into this. As Kaiwing, he's actually looking to engage.
Keep your eyes on Rest. That Narbar coming up
Mega.
soon, but it's just Bury that's getting caught. No, he's able to walk away. PSG respect it. Again, the 90-10, that's the rule. Unless you're very certain you're going to win it, you don't go in it.
But eventually they'll have to pull the trigger to go win it. Is it?
I see what you did there.
Okay, gold lead. Oh man, tension once more.
It's so tense despite the lead, right? Because
Yeah.
you know CFO is capable of this, right? It's not a done deal. That's why PSG talent aren't going in, because one false move, one lost team fight, the death timers are long enough, CFO are decisive enough, it could end right here. And then you could be knocked down to the lower bracket, forced to play up against J-Team in a match for your lives. For CFO, pressure on them too, although they have a little bit of breathing room. Even if they lose this game, there's still game 5 on the board, but now 10 seconds till Dragon. This will be soul point for whoever achieves it.
E completed by the Gangplank. Any barrel that lands will just chunk massively. And this could just be PSG one-shotting their carries with the barrel laser combination.
Yeah, gonna be the Dragon already taken before CFO can get into position. PSG talent building advantages, building themselves this lead, extending it. As we are approaching 35 minutes of game time. What a long series that this has been, but it has not lacked for action or excitement. This is an epic, right? If yesterday was like a very like sad short story, the Requiem of Deep Cross Gaming, this is like the Odyssey, you know? CFO are just trying to get to the upper bracket finals, and so are PSG.
And you can see as the game progresses into the late game stages, CFO are getting slowly choked out of their map when it comes to setting up vision. And it harkens back to their playstyle. They like to stay in lanes. They like to continue farming waves out. As a result, their ways back into the river to contest these objectives is going to predicate on them having priority. Whereas on the flip side, PSG, they just go ward. They just go ward as a squad.
And they see Koala coming up from below and just completely deny the play that they're trying to make. Rest on the side lane has teleport if he needs it, not going to be matched by Hanabi for now, but Hanabi can still get involved with those cannon barrages. Another benefit of the Gangplank as the attention now shifts towards the Baron. 30 seconds till it respawns. PSG trying to set up a trap to bait.
Objectives coming up for that Baron, and Koala getting chunked out is important. He doesn't have a teleport. He's going to have to go ahead, recall. And Hanabi!
Oh, they've caught him! Right to the Chaos Storm, forced to flash away. He's able to walk it out for now, but that's some crucial cooldowns used. Nothing on this side of the map for CFO to take, though.
It does cost them missions flash to pull off that attempt. And that is a massive return cooldown. Because when you look at Hanabi, he can still contribute to these fights with that ultimate. Yes, he's not going to get massive damage outputs unless the situation really arises. Allow him to do so. But for Mission, it constricts his ability to play the fights now because he doesn't have an escape tool. He has to be reliant on Koala really babysitting him, making sure he has that ultimate available for him, and that leaves Shun perhaps out to dry. And Rest, he's in no man's land.
Yeah, he is. Gets charmed up for days, and his Narbard's about to come up, but will this all be a big bait? He just has to use it on a single target. Koala swallows him up, so that's going to be expended. Now, here comes Gory. They actually have the Cannon Barrage drop. Koala forced to flash out, and even though PSG takes some serious damage on that one, CFO looking far worse for wear, and they can't afford to back with the Baron right there staring PSG in the face.
Koala has to go for the recall. Get himself a reset. He will be able to do it.
What a tense game.
What do you know, Pyra? Back to tension. Still no kills. It's been 9-3 for seemingly like 10 minutes.
Yeah, but not for lack of trying. This is PSG starting Baron, though. It's in full vision. The control ward's there. Everybody knows what's happening. The teleport expended by Mission. They get it. Will they commit? They're going to try to take that one. The smite's right again. Bury, learning his lessons from last game. They get out. They even force that Chaos Storm. It's a smash and grab.
Yeah, and it's because they had the ward on that red buff. So when Gemini recalled, they knew there would be so long for them to have free time without a smite contest. And they were able to finish before Gemini returned. So massive, massive steal coming in from PSG. And now they've got a little bit more to play with. Extra gold, extra Baron stats, extra Baron minions. They can...
Not to mention Soul Point Night Star coming up. 35 seconds here.
Impactful Soul, too. This is not a Cloud Soul where you're going to be left wanting a little bit, but Rest!
Oh boy, he's gonna get caught up in this one right now. Gory! Oh, here we go. The turret once again unified. Mission. That's gonna make a huge difference in this fight. CFO, they're scattering to the winds right now. Koala can't outlast the double kill. I think we're doing it. I can hear the silver scraping right now as Unified on that front line, just looking for a third kill. Won't find Shun here, but the siege is on with the Baron in tow. I don't see any other way this one's going. Down goes the inhibitor. The base is broken. CFO desperately scrambling to save it. But I don't think it's happening. Here comes Bury. He manages to get the big knock-up. Yeah, Hanabi, he's taking tower shots. Doesn't matter. Bury, he goes golden for just a second. The Nexus is laid bare, and PSG see a way back into this series and take it just shy of 40 minutes. Game 5 is on the horizon.
Even with their slow, methodical play style, the amount of poise they played in this game number 4 just paid dividends at the very end. You gotta respect the amount of guts shown by Rest to try and go for the play onto Gory. It was the correct play, but Gory plays it correctly using the stopwatch just in time. And Mission's missing flash and the lack of mobility on this Victor pick does come back to bite him in the end as he gets picked off, forces the rest of his team to overcommit. They fall down in the wayside.
Fall down like dominoes at the end. And Gory Zazir remains undefeated. PSG Talon showing us why they are the defending champions. Back to back to back, 4 times in total. PSG Talon looking to move forward, set themselves up for that matchup against Mega Bank Beyond Gaming in the upper bracket finals, and all but look to lock up Worlds again. But CFO, they've still got chances in this one. What a series we have had, Nightstar. It's come so far from a game one stomp by CFO.
Yes.
PSG back time and again, both of these teams just trading blow for blow, and it has been close down to the wire. That game was an absolute nail biter right to the finish.
And it's going to come down to the very last map, where no doubt it's going to be the side of CFO going back over to the blue side.
So, I think you're right. I think it's got to happen. This team is a different beast on that side of the map, and draft is going to be real interesting. But let's break this down again. What happened in this particular game, because it was the Azir first pick for PSG. That did make all the difference, because Gory is so darn good on this champion, and I think CFO, they're getting caught into some of their tendencies again. Mission, he still got a little caught a few times. Individual mistakes.
Had to burn Flash prematurely quite a few times as well. And this is why I was saying PSG should just first pick Azir, because Gory is just unreal on this champion. Still remains perfect. The amount of gold he was getting into him, the ability to play forward, unlike Mission, and not get punished, right? Because he has that extra escapability from the glide. It just shows the amount of familiarity PSG have with playing with the Azir, and then CFO not quite there with understanding how to play around their Azir.
Yeah, I think you are seeing the difference on the way that the drafts do shake out for both these teams. It is about the individual performance level and comfort, more so for CFO, but just really looking good there on the side of PSG Talon. We're going to game 5. We're going to be scraping some silver. We're going to take a look at a replay as this game went down. For a second, I really thought this one was going to go all the way the Baron up to the 50-50, but CFO, they're normally the gung-ho team. They backed off, and that was the beginning of the end, it seemed.
Yeah, they go for the reset here, and because they reset, they give up positioning, right? And yes, Shun was there, everyone else was there, but because Mission has to teleport back, that gives you some amount of time to reset the situation. And Rest, unfortunately, I'm able to build that Narbar fast enough for them to actually take the fight.
This turn, Bury, absolutely beastly. Not only does he outsmite Gemini this time around, but he sets up the fight after the rest of the members get away. He gives his life for the cause, but it opens up so much damage, and Unified's off to the races. Again, Unified may not necessarily be like back to his full form or anything, but when his team sets him up for success, he just runs away with it and had so much damage on this area. We're starting to see him come alive, and I think Shun on Sivir duty is not necessarily giving him his full potential. I'd like to see that shift up for CFO in this game 5.
But I also think in that game, it almost had to be Sivir, right? Because if Mission plays this Victor pick, he needs extra ability to kite a fight, and that's what the Sivir ultimate is going to help us with. So I think because, again, of Mission's playstyle, it forced Shun in a bit of a catch-22 situation. We'll get to see the damage output, and it's very clear the mid laners were the most influential, and it boiled down to which mid laner did get caught. In CFO, they almost caught Gory, but this would be the game where you almost thought you caught Captain Gory Sparrow.
Yeah, exactly. Just this is the thing. He just knows the ins and outs even more on the Azir. I think Mission Azir good, Gory Azir godlike, and even though he got very much out damage, I mean that's a Victor. It's not really a fair comparison. Doesn't matter. Comfort was still the rule of the day, and I think between the GP for Hanabi keeping the side lanes cleared, able to set things up, and of course the Azir was great, but Bury second game on Wukong, competitive in the PCS, and he wins himself an MVP. And that one replay we saw, I think that really earned it. Like, how many times on the star-studded roster do we talk about Bury as a most valuable performer?
Yes.
Well, yeah, no doubt this time around. Really, really great to see this young player excel.
Yeah, they've been a little bit hesitant on putting him on just big team fight carries, and this time he does deliver in when it matters most, right? This is game 4, you're down 1-2. And also just the fact that they drafted a team fight composition this time around, instead of forcing him to do everything himself, they gave him the tools that, hey, it's not all on you. We have the Azir, we have the GP, so do what you can, but don't feel pressured.
Well, it's all down to this last game, so what can I say? But let's play some Silver Scrapes. We'll be right back.